Good evening, I'm Prasad and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. An RCI on 1MDB is needed, and Zetti's and her husband's role in the scandal must be investigated. How surprised would you be if I told you these calls are coming from an UMNO Supreme Council member?
UMNO Supreme Council member Puat Zakashi renewed his call for the establishment of a Royal Commission of Inquiry, or RCI, into 1MDB. He said such an investigation was needed to, among others, uncover the involvement of former Bank Negara Governor Zetti Akhtar Aziz and her husband Taufik Aiman. Last week, the MACC revealed that 65 million ringgit in 1MDB-linked funds had been repatriated from the accounts of Cutting Edge Industries Limited in Singapore. Zetti previously said allegations against her and her family were false and malicious. She also said they had never received 1MDB funds. She is currently a witness in former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak's 1MDB trial. Puat also questioned why Bank Negara approved 1MDB transactions abroad without checking the authenticity of the ABA BVI account. Previously, in 2017, Puat had rubbish calls for an RIC into 1MDB as the government had taken measures to stabilise 1MDB's financial position, among others.
In another bombshell surrounding the 1MDB scandal, former AG Tommy Thomas revealed that the probe into Zetti was not completed by the time he had to vacate his office after Pakatan Harapan fell.
Former Attorney General Tommy Thomas has revealed that the investigation into former Bank Negara Malaysia Governor Zetti Akhtar Aziz and her husband's role in the 1MDB scandal was not concluded during Pakatan Harapan's time in power. In an interview with former diplomat Dennis Ignatius on YouTube yesterday, he said if the investigation papers were completed and if there was a strong convincing case, the public prosecutor would have done the necessary. He added that if a former Prime Minister and ex-Deputy Prime Minister are not immune from prosecution, certainly a former central bank governor is not. He was responding to controversy surrounding Zetti after it was found that 65 million ringgit of 1MDB-linked funds were held by a company belonging to her husband. MACC said the money was recently recovered from Singapore. Meanwhile, Thomas dismissed the allegation that the Attorney General's chambers practiced selective prosecution, particularly against UMNO leaders under his watch.
A 1.13 billion ringgit project awarded directly. Now a Warisan lawmaker wants to know why the government would do such a thing. Sepangga MP Aziz Jaman wants Putrajaya to explain why a project worth 1.13 billion ringgit was awarded without an open tender process. He was referring to the construction of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road. In a press conference in Parliament today, the Warisan lawmaker said the project did not meet government regulations for a direct award. Regulations for a direct award are urgency, single supply source, security, or to assist Bumiputra businesses.
Ini bukanlah syarikat Bumiputra. Jadi balik kepada apa yang saya rujuk kepada jawapan yang Berhormat Menteri tadi, projek Runding Terus ini khususnya melalui program Jana Wibawa ini, sepatutnya projek ini khusus kepada syarikat Bumiputra. Tetapi apa yang berlaku tidak menunjukkan sebarang bukti yang bahawa syarikat ini merupakan syarikat Bumiputra.
On top of that, he said a portion of the project, worth 780 million ringgit, has been subcontracted to a subsidiary, according to the firm's announcement on Bursa Malaysia. The Sarawak-Sabah Link Road project has 3 phases. The project referred to by Aziz involves Phase 1, the Lawas Long Lopeng Junction. Phase 1 of the project is expected to be completed in the second quarter of 2025. Harapan, still licking its wounds from its defeat in Malacca, will be using its respective component party logos in Sarawak. Pakatan Harapan component parties will be using their respective logos in the Sarawak state election, set to be held next month. The announcement was made today by Sarawak DAP Chief Chong Chien Jian.
I will be contesting under each party's banner. Like Amanah will be under Amanah's banner, DAP under Rocket, and Keadilan under C. Keadilan pun
He also revealed that talks are underway between the parties on seat distribution. This comes after a key Sarawak DAP figure urged PKR not to go back on Pakatan Harapan's seat distribution agreement signed in January. In a statement today, Sarawak DAP Secretary Alan Ling warned that PKR doing so would break the coalition. The Sarawak state election will take place on December 18th, with early voting set on December 14th. There will be a 12-day campaign period after the declaration of candidates on December 6th. Now we have a message from our sponsor. When we're back, a minister denies asking Malaysians to eat more duck.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
A false viral message has forced a minister to come out to deny asking Malaysians to eat more duck instead of chicken due to its high prices.
Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Alexander Nantalingi has denied urging Malaysians to eat duck due to the price of chicken increasing. He said he had never issued such an insensitive statement and would never make fun of people facing difficulties. He said, as someone who came from an interior area in Kapit, Sarawak, such an issue is close to his heart and not something to be taken lightly. In a statement issued yesterday, he said, as the minister concerned, he will find ways to resolve the issue of price increases. The statement was issued following a viral photo showing Alexander urging Malaysian consumers to eat duck instead while waiting for the government to study the chicken price increase. Meanwhile, Alexander said it would take some time to solve the price increase of goods as it involved various ministries and agencies, adding that the issue was shackling the whole world and not just Malaysia.
There are over 500,000 people in this country, perhaps some even watching right now, who have refused to repay their PTPTN loans.
Over 500,000 National Higher Education Fund Corporation or PTPTN borrowers have never paid back their loans. This is according to the Higher Education Ministry in a reply in Parliament. He said those who never paid back were among over 2 million borrowers who had completed their studies and were supposed to repay their loans amounting to almost 24.6 billion ringgit. The ministry was replying to a question by Jempol MP Salim Sharif, who wanted to know the number of borrowers who still owed the PTPTN and the total amount involved. Meanwhile, as of September 30th, the PTPTN had approved loans to more than 3.5 million borrowers with a total disbursement amounting to over 64.8 billion ringgit.
Soon, Malaysia may see younger leaders as the government has decided to allow individuals aged 18 to contest in elections.
All Menteri Besars and Chief Ministers have agreed to amend their state constitution to allow individuals aged 18 to become candidates in elections. Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the matter was decided at the 137th Menteri Besar and Chief Ministers meeting yesterday. The meeting also brought about other discussions such as the expedition of all state governments to implement economic and business projects, as well as the digitization of delivery systems and processes. The meeting also discussed the joint effort of the federal and state governments to realize the National Green Technology and Climate Change Agenda, including the rehabilitation of destroyed forests and land degradation by 2030. To achieve this objective, the government is considering giving incentives to state governments to implement programs and projects to ensure biodiversity sustainability. Ismail Sabri added that the government would be setting up the State Digital Economic and Fourth Industrial Revolution Council to study the charges and fees of government and local authorities agency services, as the rate of payment for telecommunication services is high and burdensome to the people.
And that is all for me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.